Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Gray Man Prepping. It is time for Tactical Tuesday. Today's a weird Tactical Tuesday because the tactics and gear stuff we're talking about is something different, because tonight's topic is my novels. And how's everybody doing out there? All right, so let me go over the comments here. Let me get this straightened up here. And all right, so first one in was Walt Rogers, and he dropped he dropped the secret again. And so yeah, he's a friend of mine, and he is a deputy sheriff, and he stole the name Walt Rogers because I was having him read the book because they share certain things of the name. So just a couple. All right. And no, I didn't name it after him. He stole his online identity for this one here. So anyways, Diana 2 came in, Shady Hill Homestead, Phelan Clan Wolf. Ryan the Gamer's here. Mother Earth Garden Club is here. Chef Tech's here. Moon Over Miami. How to Garden Glenn is here. It's the Marshmallow Man. Lewis is here. Kaylin Strain is here. And good, she did get the thing I sent. She back when I did this a couple of years ago. She was one of the ones that got a copy of one of the books. She got where is it? Scout and the Ninja. And since then, I've added about 30 pages to it since then. So, so she got the updated to it. So there have been a few changes in there for her to see. All right. Oh, so Ryan's telling us there are 9 likes and we got 16 watching. So if you guys are lurking, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up and at least say lurking. That helps out with YouTube's analytics here. All right, so got that there. I'm just checking all the housekeeping, making sure everything get done here before I get going on it. So writing books. My first book I started writing was when I was in high school. And the title of it was after I was inspired by and used the title from a Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band song. That song was Against the Wind. And then I was writing it all out in paper and stuff, and it went put away after I graduated from high school, and I didn't see that again till probably 8 years later. And I read it. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do, and I started writing a few things, and then it got put away again. And then when I went through the police academy, one of the guys there reintroduced me to an author who had a book series called The Survivalist. That was Jerry Ahern. And I said, reintroduced to him. I knew Jerry Ahern back in the early 70s. Met him once, twice. And we wrote back and forth, him and a couple other of the experts of the day. And so then when I moved from Southern California to Arizona, my little notebook that had all these guys' addresses in it that I was writing to, and all the letters, poof, disappeared. Really, I mean, at the time it really had me kind of befuddled, and then later on in life, it really ticked me off. But anyways, so I started reading some of Jerry's survivalist novels and stuff, and I pulled out mine again. I started working on it again, and then I met the staff sergeant. And there's a line in one of the books I used by one of the characters that explains how I felt when I met the staff sergeant. Although we didn't move quite as fast as they did in that. And I will read a little excerpt, that excerpt when I get to it here. But when I read it, you'll understand some of the stuff in these books are from personal experience, things that happen. But the when I started then in 2000, not 2000, it was 1998. I had shifted jobs. I got out of construction. I had back injuries and stuff. I had 12 years in the operating engineers, so I had a retirement plan set up. I didn't realize how big it was until my wife showed me the paperwork later. It's like, oh crap. Anyways, I then was working, gone back to my roots as a emergency preparedness specialist and stuff, and was working at the Bank of America data center in Concord, their primary data center, getting it ready for Y2K. Talk about a fizzling firecracker. Anyways, and there I met a man who got me back into writing big time, and his name was Dave Cabral. And Dave and I worked the graveyard shift, although my graveyard shift, 8 hours, usually ended up 12 to 16 hours, going on to the day shift to get some of the stuff done. But during the night when nobody was there, we were replacing all of the emergency supplies, working with C.B. Richard Ellis, the property management company that was managing the campus there, and getting the railroad generators they had up. The batteries changed out on them because that wasn't even in their books of things to do for Y2K. And it's like, oh, what about all the batteries on these generators? Are they, is their life cycle just about gone? You need to replace all these batteries. And things went on. And sometimes during the night when there was nothing going on, when we had stuff done, I'd be down in the control room, and Dave was working on his books and stuff. And I wrote one up and I showed it to him. And what I wrote up was I had taken my first book from high school and was reworking it. And he told me to do some stuff on it. And then we got talking, and I created another book altogether. And I spent that working with when it's in there working on it. And then I went to Chevron Texaco's corporate headquarters as their chief of security, of site security, not for corporate security. And there I worked on the other book we started. So if I can get my hand to that one, Myth Lore. And I still was emailing back and forth to Dave for many years until he passed away. And then I after when did I start this? Probably 2005. I started working on a different series of something that hit my fancy, and I changed the name of my original book from Against the Wind to where's it here? Once a Hero. And I used Against the Wind for the new series, the big series I'm working on, and because it fit better. It just fit better. So, so Mother Earth Garden Club here, only published essays and things, and her name there is Sandy Shrout. Hope I pronounced that right. And yeah, so with that said, I'm going to talk about some of the books are complete. I've completed several books. Others, I'm like on page 300 and something, 400 and something, and of the first book, and working on it. And I got outlines Word document outlines and Excel spreadsheets going for miles. I mean, example, myth lore here. I'm on like page 600 on it. I got about 300 more to go to finish the first book. And I got the outlines for the next 7 books and some chapters written for those other books waiting to be finished. Same thing for Once a Hero. I got it outlined for 3 books done and some chapters written in other books. But right now, my passion is the Against the Wind series, which is everything else up here. And so let me tell you about what Against the Wind. Well, actually, let me go over here first and put this back up here. So these are the 3 that are finished right now. Against the Wind, the primary one for the saga. The Scout and the Ninja. A Scout is trustworthy. And the Family Compound series, Hunker Down. And I started writing this before I moved. I started writing all 3 of these years before I moved up here to Idaho. All right. Scout and the Ninja. The Scout and the Ninja. A Ninja is Silent. I'm on page 370 something on it today. Against the Wind, I'm up to 458 page on it. This is Running Against the Wind. And the new one that split off of the main one of the characters from it split off, and it's called Hardcore. And Operation Hardcore is the first book of that series. And yeah. So and then other ones. And of course there is Myth Lore, which is I'm on page like 600, 700. I got a lot of pages on that one, and which is a weird one and it says where science and magic merge. Yeah, but I got another one that's almost done here that I hadn't talked about. It was on my main page. There was I didn't talk about it was it's one that's written by the character Walt Rogers. In it, and there's a series of 3 books in that series. The first one is Blood Moon Falling. The second one is The Dying Winter, and the third one is Tawaki Time. And that's all there's going to be for that series. But yeah, so I think that's that. So I can go ahead and bring that down and get that out of the way. That out of the way over here, and I know if you look at this book right here, the picture on it, yes, that is my desktop picture. All right. So let's go over here. Where is it? I'm trying to find it, what it is. All right. So the premise behind everything on the top row here and these two here on the side is laid out in the first book, Against the Wind. Let me see if I can get this up here, and I'll cover a little excerpt of it for you. And so some things to know about all these books. So there's the first one going through here. Everything's laid out. And yeah, so I actually completed this book back in 2019 and copyrighted it. Got the little lead-in thing, little bio about me. Okay, table of contents. Oh, and Martha Jarrett of Old School Prepper did me a favor and edited this one, and she worked on the Scout and the Ninja as well. But important part about this here is I know you buy Scabbard Camry, so I'm just going to read it. The world has survived many disasters over its existence. Some have been called extinction events, others cataclysmic. In the theory of the multiverse, these events can cause what can cause and what some believe actually have caused splitting of timelines. Anna froze. Splitting of timelines or the creation of alternate dimensions or universes. Anybody's afraid that is familiar with the Marvel Universe? Yeah, and I've been talking about this long before that. But anyways, some scientists have been talking about it as well. Sometimes these events can be caused by a single split, or other times cause multiple splits. So an event causes different branching of the universes. Some people believe these. Some believe that people's visions are glimpses of these other timelines, and others believe that some novelists somehow tap into these timelines for inspirations for their stories. And some believe that some stories are just a history of certain events from other timelines. Some people, including a few scientists, believe that we might one day be able to travel between timelines. However, the implications of that theory gives me headaches, and a conversation on that would take years and volumes to fill several libraries. It's enough to say that Against the Wind Saga takes place in such a timeline alternate universe. All right, so this is not our universe. This is an alternate one where these take place. This is fiction. Ground rules. For most of us, if we were to shift between our current timeline and the Against the Wind timeline, we may not notice many differences, if any. Others would spot differences that would stand out, like Rudolph's green nose. Hint, hint, hint. In that universe, Rudolph has a green nose, not a red nose, because green light is easier to see than red light. With this in mind, remember, some businesses, organizations may have different names or responsibilities or organizational structures. Some persons may be born years or decades before or after they are born in our timeline. Some die younger while others live longer. They may marry different people or the same as we know from our timeline. Whatever the reason, don't get mired in thinking that things have to happen the way they happen in our timeline. The same single word can inspire one person in one timeline or demoralize their counterpart in another timeline. Warning, special powers may or may not exist in different timelines. So that's that just kind of outlined froze. That outlines the structure of where this is taking place. Let me go down here. So I'm just going to read you the first couple of paragraphs of the actual book here, and then I'll talk about exactly what goes on here, and we'll jump around and tell you how things evolve and how some of the being prepared concerns you. All right. So the prologue starts out, the making of a man. The rider on the horse straightened his legs as he stretched against the stiffness in his lower back. He looked into the setting sun and sighed. He sat back down in the saddle with a soft groan of resignation and drooped his head towards his chest, the brim of his off-white Stetson hat casting a shadow across his face. Dewey Johnson had been following the rider in one of the ranch's jeeps for the last 3 hours as he rode across the 150,000-acre plus ranch that the rider had just inherited. Mr. Rogers, Dewey called out, it's almost sunset, and you need to sign these documents before the sun sets if you are to receive everything your uncle left you. The rider wheeled the horse around smoothly and guided him up to the jeep. Let me have it, he said, and leaned down from the horse's back and took the documents that were bound in the blue binding that legal papers always seem to be in. The exasperation heavy in his voice as the last of his resistance slipped away to do what he did not care for. accepting that his Uncle Dan was gone forever. He was now in charge of the business. All the responsibilities his uncle had were now his. Taking the stainless steel ballpoint pen from his pocket with his right hand, the writer placed the documents, which were in his left hand, upon his left thigh, brought the pen to the line where he was supposed to sign. He paused and sighed deeply again. Froze. Then he signed his name to the document, which gave him ownership of all these lands. Walt Rogers. And shoved the papers back at Dewey Johnson, the attorney for his uncle's estate. He slipped the pen back into his shirt pocket and wheeled the horse back towards the setting sun and guided it back where they were before, under the overhanging branches of the large oak tree. Dewey folded up the document and placed it in the briefcase on the seat next to him and looked up at the writer and said, "You know, Mr. Rogers, when I was a little boy, I used to visit my grandfather, and he and I would watch old Western movies together. And looking at you now, sir, reminds me of one of his favorites." "Which one?" Walt asked as he slowly shook his head, pretty sure he knew the answer. Dewey smiled. "It was one starring John Wayne, called Chisholm." "Yeah, my uncle liked that one too." Walt sat up straight in the saddle. "You better head back now before it gets dark. It's easy to get lost out here if you don't know your way around." "It's probably a stupid question," Dewey said, "but are you going to be okay out here by yourself?" "Oh, yeah," Walt answered, with the first hint of warmth in his voice that Dewey had heard all day. "I know these hills better than anyone alive." He sighed again. "After all, this is where I grew up." Okay, so that's starting into it, and it leads into the development of the man, Walt Rogers, who is, hang on, I got to remember how old he is. I think he's only 19 at this point. Let me pull up a document here for me to double check that for you. Because yeah, I have all sorts of fun stuff to document this stuff, and because I can't keep track of everything by myself. So yeah, I got spreadsheets for tracking everything. All the characters. These are just some of the characters in the book. Oh, okay. At the beginning of the book, he has turned 21 already. So he is not 21, 20. He is 20 at this time. So drop that down. But in the prologue, it goes for a while before it gets to the event, but it covers several things going on. So this was, I didn't say, I didn't put what month there. I think it was August. The next couple paragraphs down here, it comes to September. And he's going through Uncle's things and stuff still, finding stuff out, noticing things. And he goes, oh no, sorry, it's September. I think that's right. So it's September, and he's standing in the doorway of his uncle's study, looking out into the grand hall of the ranch house. All his relatives are gathering. So it's still the same day. It's later on in the day when everybody's gathered around for the reading of the will. After the reading of the will, his uncle left everyone something. For some, it was less than they had expected. For others, it was much more, including himself. His uncle did not have any children of his own, and Walt had spent most of his childhood here at his uncle's ranch. While Walt's dad, Mark, was in one way opposite of Dan. That being that Dan was a rancher and Mark was a big-time lawyer. But they are also so much like-minded politically and philosophically. And then it goes on. His uncle left Mark the black Lincoln Continental stretch limo, a custom-built Plan B SAR RV, $200,000. It was to be used for prepping. The SAR stands for Survival and Rescue Vehicle. Goes talks about stuff. His Walt's aunt, who never really liked being at the ranch, ever being the socialite diva, was more at home at Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills than her own home, was bequeathed only $70,000. This had her pouting because she felt she deserved much more, being his only sister. She's got an attitude. All right, the Walt Rogers in the chat, and I know he's being extremely silent because I told him I'd smack him if he started mouthing off about stuff. He's a good friend of mine. They share a singular part of the name, and he said, "Well, I'm going to create an email called Walt Rogers." He emailed me, and with it, and then we started joking around and stuff. And so, but he's been one of my friends I send all the books to look over and get suggestions from. So, and yes, he could be existing the other timeline as it, different age and stuff. But the Walt Rogers chat's dad is not a lawyer. All right. Oh, but he does live on a ranch. Okay. So talks about Walt's brother David, who turned 18, got $20,000. His sister Sally's 22, got $50,000. His older brother Michael, who was 24, got $40,000. Walt surmised that the difference of these amounts were based upon the time each of them spent out at the ranch. So basically, the first part here is laying out everybody's connection to everybody else, character development, and some primary character development, and things that go on. His uncle's three cousins each got $10,000. Each of the kids got $5,000. His grandparents, Stan and Martha, who'd already been taken care of with a substantial trust fund for their retirement, got it doubled. The big shocker to most of the family was the fact that his uncle had a girlfriend 12 years his junior. Okay, I'm waiting for the remarks in the chat on that one. Yeah. So Uncle Dan had a girlfriend 12 years younger than her. And all right, her name was Anna Reagan. And before the will was read, a lot of the family didn't know her and assumed that she was just a gold digger after Dan's money or property. Walt, his dad, and grandparents are the only ones that knew better. The few family members who had come out to the ranch lately thought at first that Ann was just a ranch veterinarian and attending to the horses and livestock. Walt had met Ann 8 years ago and knew the arrangement her uncle had with her, that all she would get when he passed this was $5,000, plus a blank check that was to set up her own veterinary practice and any of the horses from the ranch she wanted. She confided in Walt she didn't want any of it. She just wanted to be able to stay out at the ranch and work. She just wanted to be able to stay out at the ranch and work with the horses she loved almost as much as his uncle. And of course, Walt said, "Yeah, fine. Yes, stay here, take care of the horses and stuff for me and everything else, and help me with the ranch." And it goes on talking about family relationships and everything else going on. Goes through, they're talking about everything. Some of the family members leave because they're all griping. They don't want to spend another night at the cat ranch. Walt starts bugging his grandma and grandpa that are retired to, you don't want to stay here for a couple months and help me get this sorted out. And basically, they reluctantly agree to help run the ranch for a little bit and get Walt squared away with it. And Yeah, it's fun. It's fun writing. It's fun going back and reading what I write because I write such details in some of it. I'm just skimming over stuff here that I forget the details I wrote. Hey, Suzanne, how's it going? And so you finally get him to stay, and and then they finally sit down. The core family member that's left, which is Mark's immediate family and both sets of grandparents, um, stay there at night, have ice cream, and drink sodas and stuff. Um, it goes on. It picks up the next day, and it's about a page or so of the half of page or so and half of it here. Let me put it this way here of it, and and so 2 days later, after the funeral and the reading of the will and everything, everybody had left except for Walt's grandma and grandpa. Um, so everyone, his mom and dad, brothers, everybody's gone, and of course Anna is still living there at the ranch. Um, she decided she didn't feel right staying in the big master bedroom, and she moved into one of the smaller rooms. And she insisted that Walt take the, as the master of the place, take the master bedroom over. Okay. While he was going through his uncle's computer, trying to figure things out, because hey, I need to learn everything. Um, he found a folder hidden in the computer um, that was called Future, and it basically had documents listing what his Uncle Dan had planned for the ranch, all the future things he wanted to do. God, godsend! Oh, now I know what all this stuff's for. It's all laid out here. So yeah, he's excited about that. There was the software ran projects on everything for running the ranch for the next 5 years. Expected stock rotation, breeding schedules, improvised schedules for improving facilities, such as the dam on the small creek and the hydroelectric plant that parts are for but had not been installed yet. All sorts of stuff that was done on that. And then including some propane-powered generators and that could run on hydrogen, and a hydrogen production facility using all the solar panels that were installed on the roof of every building on the place. The big barns covered with solar panels. He found out that from all the solar panels that had been installed over the last 6 years or so, the ranch was making almost as much money selling power to the electric company as Dan was making in profit from selling cattle. And Daniel Berry's sports light highlight is here. Here's a paragraph I got to read to you right here. I'm highlighting it there, but I'm too young for this stuff. And grunted as he leaned forward and brought the chair back to an upright position. He spent all morning reviewing the list of the whole of his uncle's holdings and couldn't make out sense what his uncle had been planning. For a cattleman, he made some killer deals in the stock market, and then turned around and made some what Walt thought was foolish land purchases. In the comment section for some of these was the notation Tawaki, and Walt had no idea what Tawaki was. But one of these land purchases was that of the old Parsons mine 5 years ago. That one really didn't make sense to Walt. It was useless for cattle. You couldn't get around. You couldn't get around on it. The lumber wasn't worth cutting. The mine was played out decades ago. It had a small lake on it and a two-bedroom shack that was falling apart. The old railroad track that had been removed back in the 40s, right-of-way bed was still there, but it was starting to get overgrown. A light went on in Walt's head when he thought about the right-of-way. It used to hook up to the main line, and that was still standing there and in use. Although the railroad never used it much to his knowledge, but every now and then a train would, go on it once a month or so. Was Dan planning on running the cattle up there to ship them? He'd have to look into that once he got everything squared away. And then Walt leaned forward on his elbow, cupping his chin in his hand, like this, and said, "What in the heck is Tawaki?" And he started staring intently at the monitors, and he brought up a new Windows Explorer window and typed Tawaki and searched for in the search field and hit enter. He wasn't really expecting to find much than 10 or more documents that he found Tawaki already mentioned in. But when the computer displayed over 150 files referencing Tawaki, he sat up straight. "Holy mackerel!" Walt exclaimed as he saw the vast majority of the files were in a hidden folder called Novels. After quickly scanning through the names of the files, he realized that they were just that, novels. Uncle Dan had been writing novels. "Wow," Walt exclaimed. "Uncle Dan, a writer? Who would ever thought that?" Okay, no, these books are not published yet. I'm not going to be publishing the books on Amazon until for Kindles and paperback until I have completed 12 of the books. And like I said, I've got 3 completed, 3 more partially completed, 8 more started. So once I get them done, because I want to be able to start dropping them one a month to I found out through research that if you have several books, you start dropping them one a month, all of a sudden your sales of books, all the books go up, and then if you dropped one year, one the next year, one the next year. So it'll, propel faster, and then hopefully it will generate enough income off of Amazon. And that's not going to be the only place I'll be publishing them as well, but I'll also be publishing them through a couple other Paragon Press and a couple of the other ones, so that it's out there hardback as well. And I may go with another ebook publisher as well. Well, I'm going to be allowing you to get copies of one of the books tonight when we get going here. We're going fast. Okay, so anyways, speed up. All right, goes on. So this was September. While he's reading there, and he's reading out the books, and he makes a comment, and just then there's a knock at the door. It's Sheriff Randolph Cooper and his deputy Gary Wayne were there, and he goes, "Sheriff, did you know that Dan was writing novels?" And the sheriff responds, "He and I talked about some ideas he was kicking around for a book or two, but I never knew he'd started them. More than started, he's completed a couple dozen of them, and they're pretty good. But I wonder why he never published them. Your uncle. Ain't nothing good enough the first 3 times for him." All right. Anyways, the sheriff's there. The bank in town has been robbed. The robbers made a getaway into the wilderness forest area near the ranch and near the town. And Walt had gone out with Dan to help do tracking before, And now that Dan had passed away, Walt was regarded as the top tracker in the state. So Walt goes out there, gets his horse, goes out to trailer, goes out there to the point where they're going to meet one of the other deputies. And the deputy is Jason Red Hawk, a Native American friend of Walt's since the time he first started staying at the sheriff at the ranch. Goes on. FBI shows up in town. Walt, the sheriff, is stonewalling him. Hey, I got deputies out. You guys are going to get lost. You go out there, And the special agent Donnelly is getting, all thing. He goes, I'm going to arrest you for impeding, blah 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 blah. And he goes, and this is, I guess they've been out there in the thing for 2 weeks, tracking down these guys. And he goes, well, maybe you ought to turn around and look out the window. And here comes Walt and Jason with 3 trussed up bank robbers on horseback back into town, the main street of town. And things go, and they turn him over to the FBI. Here you go, have fun with them. Walt starts to go in to fill out the paperwork for the sheriff, so he can get so he can get reimbursed for his time. And of course, the Federal Bureau of Incompetence decides, oh, we're going to untie all 3 of them at the same time, because they didn't have handcuffs on them. They had them trussed up good, and they weren't getting loose. Well, untying him, one of them grabs a FBI agent's gun, starts shooting, wounds several FBI agents. They take a hostage, a girl hostage off the street that people were watching. The FBI gathered around, not knowing what to do. Walt gets very exasperated. He goes, oh, man. And he starts walking off to the side. And he gets off to a certain point, and the one guy, that has the girl says, "Stop her, I'll shoot her." He yelled at FBI agents, "You know I will." Walt, with his 30-30 saddle rifle, looks at him, takes another step farther, bam, bam, shoots up. He gets 2 of them one shot and takes the other guy down, headshot, just drops him right next to the girl. So, anyways, that goes on, and the Donnelly starts saying, "Oh, why'd you have to shoot him?" Blah 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 blah. And he's starting to arrest Walt, and suddenly another guy all of a sudden someone shouts behind him. He looks over and he sees a black Hummer with 5 guys all dressed in black, tactical weapons across, and big patches on their shirt saying Homeland Security. And the guy in that his name is Chris Davies, and he's a special agent in charge, not just a special agent like the FBI had. And he just reams the FBI because of their incompetence and letting the guys loose. They were here to take over the case because the bank robbers had been identified through the cameras of one of the guys as a terrorist, international terrorist, and Homeland Security was going to take it over. Anyways, and that's that one ends there. But it goes on. Different things happen. Inheriting the ranch, he was asked to go over talk to the principal. Dan had been bringing out the future farmers of America from the school to out to the ranch to work the horses and the cattle and the pigs and stuff like that. And that led to, and so while he was there at the school, he meets some of the future farmer America's kids, and including, let's see if I can get the word is here. Get down to the names here. I know there's Sarah. I know there's um, I'm having a brain fart. Okay. There is Sarah, Jerry Gray, Cindy Montana, uh, Raquel Parker, and Sammy Harris there. So, yeah, like I said, I got all the names there, and I track them so I don't get them like that. Anyways, Sarah Ahern, get that one done. That is Sarah Ahern. Things are starting to come together. Yeah. Anyways, so she's just starting her senior year along with most of the girls I just named, and she's in the end of September. I think she turned 18. So she's one of the ones the school's like, you can't start because of age and stuff, and so she's 18 as a senior. He's 20. She's 18. Both adults. Nothing happens other than law rockets and stuff going off. Anyways, they fall for each other, but in October, the sheriff decides not to run for sheriff again. Walt turns 21 in October. The sheriff nominates Walt to be his replacement on the ballot, ticking off a crooked county supervisor. Walt says, "Hey, absolutely not. We cannot date. Blah 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 until this is over." They date. Boom. He becomes sheriff. Then news of a planetoid coming towards Earth it becomes known in the government, and as the sheriff, Chris Davies, the special agent in charge, who has also bought property up there now because he has read some of Walt's books and stuff and decides, hey, I want to have my wife and family away from the city up there. And Chris is on vacation. A couple of his agents come up to, hey, you got to be on this conference call. And they meet Walt at the sheriff's office. You hook up to his fiber optics, get a secure line going for the computer and get in it. And Walt gets drug into the mess of knowing that this is coming, but he can't say anything about it. But Chris says, I'll help you get supplies for the county and stuff through Homeland Security, through the grants and everything else. And that goes on. So for the next year, Walt is busy doing something. He tells Sarah, we can't do anything. There's something going on. I can't tell you about it. It's top secret, blah, blah, blah. Sarah figures out what's going on. And she doesn't tell Walt she's figured out what's going on. So she starts getting all the Venture Scout crew together, getting prepared, not telling them why, but they start getting prepared for an event. All she knows is she doesn't know that it's a planetoid. She knows it's called the Mid-October event. And anyway, so it goes on, and in the book, hang on here. Hang on, I want to put this to headings. There we go. So the prologue takes through to October. New calling is when he works on becoming sheriff. There is election day. He wins by a landslide. Family ties in chapter 4. His older brother Michael's getting married, and they want to do it at the ranch. The leak happens on September 18th. And so stuff goes on, and then the 21st is the day of the past. October 21st is the first day as the it's going by. It passes between the Earth and the Moon, and not halfway between the Earth and the Moon, maybe a little bit closer to the Earth and the Moon. This is not a normal planetoid. It has a heavy core of plutonium, uranium, cesium, and I looked up all the things and I got them listed in there. And so basically, it's about a third the size of the Moon, but it has 10% more gravitational pull, and it's a lot closer. So guess what that does to the oceans? So you got the Moon here, you got the planetoid here, you got Earth here, and all that gravitational. Yeah, they wind up being like 1,000 foot, 1,500 foot tidal waves, tidal drawn waves, and yeah, devastates different parts of the country. But fortunately, I don't have my globe in here. So here's the globe. This side over here is where the Americas are. This side over here is where the Middle East into India is at. And as it goes by, it goes by with the rotation of the Earth. So for 8 hours, the planetoid is right above that part of the Earth. Yeah. End up with one hot, wet mess. Yeah. Anyways, so that's what happens. And book one ends on the 22nd of October, first full day after the passing. And there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of information. They're good for preppers. I tried to use this as a teaching tool of what people can do, what you can't do, stuff works, stuff doesn't work on that. Okay, so we're hitting near the end of the hour. So let me get on. Let me get that down. So the 3 books. Let me get up here to the right one here, and that I will give out copies of tonight for those that want it. It'll be a PDF. You can't print it. You can't copy from it. You can't convert it. It's locked up solid tight. You can read it in Adobe PDF Reader. All right. So these are the 3 books I'm going to give out. Quickly, what happens? Scout and the Ninja starts off the day that the leak comes out, and everybody finds out about, oh, there's an asteroid coming. Oh, we got actually, sorry, it was called the End of October event. We got a month and a half before it gets here. And it involves Michael Moore, the Scout, who is a Eagle Scout, a Denali Scout. Now, Denali is, so in Scouts, you got Boy Scouts. Hang on, let me switch this. You have Boy Scouts, which is age 10 and a half to 18. You have Venture Scouts, which is age 12 to 18. You have, not Venture, Varsity Scouts. Varsity Scouts are called teams, not troops. Then you have Venture Scouts, which is age 14 to 21. Venture Scouts is co-ed. So Michael has been an Eagle Scout with 66 merit badges. That equates to nine Eagle Palms on top of his Eagle Scout rank. He went on to join a crew. I mean, a team of varsity team scouts. Earned the Denali Award, which is equivalent to the Eagle Scout, and he's a member of a venture crew, and has earned their 2 top awards as well. He's an archery. He's a foster child. Foster parents aren't allowed to have firearms, but they are allowed to have archery. And the Clarks teach all their foster kids archery and teach them patience and stuff using archery. You can't just shoot. You got to aim, use it to teach them stuff. And Michael became very good at archery, very good, so much for though that he was for the last 3 years, he was state champ every year. And he is 17 and a half. The ninja is Kimberly Jackson, the only child of James and Monica Jackson. 2.5 years earlier, James Jackson was killed. Major James Jackson of the United States Marine Corps 4th FORCON was killed in the Middle East. So it's just her and her mom. Major Jackson started teaching his daughter Marine training at age 4 with physical conditioning and certain things. At age 7, she started taking Jeet Kune Do lessons from Dana. I always mispronounce the name. Oh. Anyways, the goddaughter of Bruce Lee. Her father, Don, was one of Bruce Lee's best friends and co-trainer. And if you saw the Game of Death in the tower, he was the one using the nunchucks in the Game of Death. And he is the top-ranking Jeet Kune Do instructor in the world today. There we go. Thank you. Dan. And so the daughter is Diana, whose husband is Ron Blackie, who is also a martial arts instructor. Anyways, so in this universe, she's taking lessons from her for a number of years until I'm trying to think, from 7 till they were down in Southern California, Pendleton, moved to the Phoenix Tempe area, and she was 17 minus 4, so she was 13 when they moved. And anyways, she is a level 3 Jeet Kune Do instructor at 17. She spends all her summers out of school back in California training with Ron Blackie, Diana Tano, and all of there's an E on the end of the Kun. The other instructors of the groups and stuff. She's trained with several others. And anyways. That's coming up in book 6. Spoiler alert, book 6, yes. Yeah. And a certain person is going to be mentioned as well in book 6. Anyways, hey, Prepper 101. So in Scout and the Ninja, they learn about stuff. Here's where your romantic aficionados are going to love this book. Turns out that for 3 years, since they were both 14, going to different high schools, Michael Moore in archery was infatuated by this girl, Kimberly Jackson, who was in archery shooting I always mispronounce the name of it, a Japanese bow specifically. And she also shot English longbow. She prefers shooting old school bows at archery contests. She looked at him. Ooh, he's cute. He looked at her. Ooh, she's cute. However, he asked about her, and there was a boy at her school saying that he was her boyfriend. He wasn't, but he was spreading the lie that he was. And Michael, she's got a boyfriend. Oh, well, I'm not going to horn in another guy's saying. She was told that he, as an Eagle Scout and all this stuff, he is so prim and proper. He's turned down any girl that's ever asked him out on a date. Also not true. So there's this little unrequited love or infatuation going on here between them. And during the book, you learn this from the flashbacks, not flashbacks, but them talking about it. Well, as it happens, the day after the it leaks out about the planetoid coming by, or the asteroid coming by on a Friday. Saturday, he's at Harbor Freight getting some supplies for their cabin up north, up by the Utah border. She and her mom are there picking up some an inverter to tie onto their truck battery so they can have power, and a couple solar panels to keep the truck battery charged, because they're bugging out to her mother's cousin over by Alpine, Arizona, over by the New Mexico border. Well, he's in that aisle, and Kimberly and her mom, and this is a boy toy store, all right. Look at all the toys around for boys. And she said, "Oh, there's inverters over there." She goes running around the corner, smack into Michael, knocks him on the ground. And she goes, "I'm sorry," and then he turns around. See, she nails him in the back, knocks him on his face, turns around, and she goes, "You're Super Scout." And he goes, "Super Scout? Oh yeah, it's what all us girls call you. Stuff. You're so super prim, super proper, and Eagle Scout. What could you call it? You just got a nickname of Super Scout at our school." And she goes, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Oh, I'm Super Scout." She goes, "I am," and he goes, "You're Kimberly Jackson. You shoot the historic bows at the archery contest. I see you there all the time." And they start talking. I got to pull this up for you guys, so hang on a second here. Let me drop this down while I go into the stuff here. Where is it? I got to read you the quote now from it. All right. Scout in the Ninja series. Scout is trustworthy. All right, is it in here? No, sorry, it's not mentioned until the second book. Hang on, that's why I wanted to make sure I could pull it up right. Ninja is silent. And this kind of depicts how my wife and I met, type thing, the way it affected us. So let me read this here real quick. She's telling some of her fans, how they met. She goes, "Michael said, 'Kimberly, will you be my one and only girlfriend?' And I said, 'Yes, and more if you want.' And then he said, 'One day at a time. Dating today, steady next week.' And I said, 'Engaged the next?'" Kimberly took a deep breath. Later that afternoon, I made the video you guys just watched, where I asked him to marry me. They talked for the first time on Friday. Sunday afternoon, she asked him to marry him. "Wow, that was fast," Cora said. "Yeah, Commander," and it goes into something else here, going, "Commander Smythe, there's something going on in fake backstories here that you have to read the book to understand. Yeah, Commander Smythe formally introduced us one day, and I proposed the next. Cupid wasn't using arrows. He hit me with a Laws rocket that night and dropped a Moab on me during the morning. That's about the way I felt when I met my wife." Tammy Harder's here. She's got unexpected company. All right, so if you want, okay, let me go back up here. So the other The other book here takes place starting down in Southern California. It goes to up in the Sierra Mountains and then goes up to a place in Idaho at near Mountain Home. And same type thing, different group going on, different things. But all of these will at one point interact with one another. In fact, there's another book called Paladin, another one called I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. There's two other books in the series as well that are going to interact with each other. Right now, these three books are completed. If you want one, I request two things. One, you don't share the PDF of the book I send you. Two, if you notice any spelling errors in there, such as a word not capitalized at the beginning of a sentence when it should be, or instead of saying then, it just says the, where I leave the N off. I just found another one today. You know, the way you can do it, you go into whatever page you're on, because every page is numbered in the book, so it should be numbered in the PDF. Page such and such, paragraph such and such. This word needs to be capitalized, or this word needs to be changed, something like that, for correct grammar and stuff. All right. So if you want a copy of one of these three books, you pick out whichever. If you want a romance one, it's the Scout and the Ninja. But if you want to pick out one of these to read, the shortest one to read is the Family Compound. The others are almost twice as long. Send me an email at can'tpatentfamilycompound@gmail.com requesting it. And this is for only those that are in the chat tonight. So if you're watching this later on, other than Tammy, who was here, sorry. I'm only giving out to those who were in the chat tonight. So, yeah, let me send me an email. Tell me which one you want. It's Against the Wind, Scout and the Ninja, or the Family Compound. And I will email back to you the PDF of that book. I really want you to give me a review on it, what you think about it. And if you get Scout and the Ninja, I want to know how many times you started crying. You know, certain other people that I have given it to have started crying, and then they cuss at me. All right, so if you want that, you can go ahead and send that to me, and I will get these out to you. Let me pull something up here real quick. So, so Against the Wind, book one, to the very end of it is 343 pages. This is, you know, the first books of the series are shorter to get people interested, and the next one's going to be twice as long. If you read Harry Potter, you notice the first book is small, and the next ones get bigger and bigger, and now they're all a bunch of big ones going through. Let's see, and the Scout and the Ninja is how many pages? It goes to 401 pages. No, 402 back page. And the Family Compound series, where is it? Runs down to 135 pages. Like I said, that one's a bunch shorter, but that one's also intense. That's okay, Suzanne. Yeah, so anybody that's in here tonight that's made a comment in the chat, yeah. So if you're just listening, doesn't count. You got to make a comment in the chat if you um, if you want to be able to get one of these books. So, oh, that's what I want to look at. So, the books in the series, the series of books in the saga, Against the Wind, Hardcore, Paladin, Survival Mode, Family Compound, Scout and the Ninja, and Whiplash. So there's 7 books going on in it right now. Now, to give you a little, I don't want to say it. What happens sometimes, and this happens when I write. The other night, I deleted a chapter and a half because it wasn't going where I wanted to go. Because I get into the characters and I start thinking like the characters I created. I go, wait, you're not supposed to be saying that. And I got to go back and change things. So in the Ninja is Silent, I had to do it. I redid a chapter and a half on that this week. But in Against the Wind Book 2, Running Against the Wind, one of the characters in there that was just supposed to be a side character became, using her as a side character, she became friends with Sarah. There on the cover. Became very good friends with her, and then became friends with some other characters. Developed stuff. Anyways, she wound. Her name is Mary Bethany Donaldson, daughter of General Donaldson of the Marine Corps. And she was in the Young Marines at age 8. But anyways, she winds up, her character suddenly starts growing and interacting with more characters and stuff. And she got married to one of the main characters up at Walt's Ranch. Anyways, she in this book here, she sets out on her own adventures, looking for people, and that's the premise of Hardcore. Because at the time she has risen through the ranks enough to be a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. And so she's taken off, and some people, they've developed a special, they call it the Doom Buggy from Hell. And the people that developed it, the company up there that developed and stuff, found out what she's doing, fixed her up, got her stuff. And what had happened is, spoiler alert, Sarah, for some reason, I'm not going to say why, finds out that she goes and takes off down to Boise to rescue people down in Boise by herself. And Mary goes, "Oh, hell no, I'm coming after you." So, yeah. So anyways, yeah. So basically, I get our hands right here. These two are going to be running around the country doing. Pardon my French. They're going to be stirring up a busload of shit and crap storms as they travel around the country rescuing people. Yeah, you don't have to really, just, if you notice something as reading it, something that doesn't make sense, say, hey, this didn't make sense. What was it supposed to say? And that way I'll correct it in my copy, and I'll let you know via email back what it was supposed to say. But now there are some characters in here that do not speak perfect King's English. They all say a king kind of talks funny. You all need to get out of here now. There are some of those in there, so you'll notice when you see their writing, you understand it. All right. So remember, go ahead and email me if you want a copy, and let me know what you find wrong in the book so I can correct it. All right. And then once I actually get them published, if you want one, those that do pre-reading stuff, will get a free copy, a hard copy, once I go to press with them. Southern drawl, West Virginia drawl, yeah, and some other states too. If it's in quotes, yeah, exactly. If it's in quotes, that's how it's meant to be generally. Because I've gone back and reread some of those. It's not quite off kilter enough. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed tonight and you got something out of this, and you hopefully you'll be interested in these. But yeah, once the staff sergeant gets up here and we get everything, then where I'm not doing so much other work, I'll be spending a lot more time writing these books. Oh, I am going to show you something here. I am going to show you something here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Saga. Here we go. Let me get this one up here for you. So just as a sneak peek, let me go ahead and get that banner out of the email banner. Okay, so for Against the Wind, I got 25 titles set up, books, and I got outlines for most of these books done. So I know what's supposed to happen in each of the books. I just don't know all the wording, all the character interaction, all the nuances of the books done yet. Although some of them I have written paragraphs here, paragraphs there. Scout and the Ninja. First one, come on. Scout is trustworthy is done. The Ninja is silent is almost done. Scout is loyal. Ninja is deadly. Scout is helpful. Ninja is tedious. Scout is friendly. Ninja is, yeah, you see where I went with that. Okay. And this changed here because the 25th book was supposed to be the Scout and the Ninja are married, but that's changing. Family Compound. I got some. The rest I may or may not go for the full 25. Settling down, hunker down, settling in, winter stores, hard road to hoe, put up or shut up, second winter, war, strange allies, hardcore strikes. Hardcore? I wonder if that could be, yes. Never running out of steam. So that's there. Paladin, Awakening, Rebirth, Neighbors, Ashfall, Winter Comes, Town Boss, Disappearing in the Crack of Dawn, John Carter, Don't Let Another Minute Get By, The Mine, Going to Lose It If We Wait Till the Night. Yeah, you got some other ones in there. Whiplash, Imploding Reality, Hard to Breathe, Coming to Grips, Circus of Death, Before the Sun is Awake, Take Me to the Edge of the Stars, Close is Not Enough, Survival Mode, Prepare for the Worst, Hope for the Best, Winter is Coming Fast, Slipping Through Our Fingers, and several other ones there. Hardcore. Oh, wow. Yes, I went overboard on hardcore already. And I got several things in here. And Operation Hardcore is the first book. Hard Times, Hard Choices, Hard Life, Hard Steel, Hard Edge, Forged in Fire, From the Halls, From to the Shores, First to Fight, Flags Unfurled, From Dawn, Charge the Gates of Hell, Into the Fire, Retreat. Hell, we just got here. I can still stand. It's just a flesh wound. Do you want to live forever? Against All Odds. Medal of Honor is the last one. And some of these last ones, the alternate titles, Under Pressure, Batten the Hatches, Hit the Deck, SOG, Special Operations Group, The Reapers. Oh, wait a minute. SOG and the Reapers, Scout and the Ninja. Oh, we got the tie-in there, folks. Demigod, the last one is Heading Home. So that's, like I said, I've been working on this. I got stuff written up, and I don't know. Let me know what you want and what's going on, and I will. Oh, sue me, send an email. Cool. All right. Yeah, remember, say which book you want, and I'll get to you. Yes, yes. I'm a Monty Python fan. Let's see here. Mother Earth Against the Wind. All right. Yeah. So I need your email, Mother Earth Garden Club. So send me an email and with it and to Camp Patton Family Compound. I'm talking southern here, my pone. All right, my corn pone. Yeah, and I'll send it off. And yeah, and just a quick thing here. Let me see if I can get out of that. Get out of that. Get out of that one. Against Saga, Against the Wind. And I do bring up a bunch. I research stuff and view extra large. Oh wow! It's the Doom Buggy from Hell, only highly more modified. Yeah, and yes, I like Cowboy. Oh well, wait a minute. Another picture of Sarah. Walt Rogers trekking after the bad guys. The planetoid asteroid going by the Earth. And so yeah, I got a lot of pictures on. I got pictures. I got other information and stuff. I researched data and everything else on these. So I try to make it as good as possible for everybody to enjoy. All right, everyone. Just as a reminder, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill and try growing an indoor garden. We're doing the indoor garden challenge. We start weighing vegetables on January 1st. All right. See you. I hope to see you Thursday night for the midnight ride. Take care, everyone.